How many rematches have you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, it's a good question. It's going to be based on my training camp. I have to push myself a little harder. If that didn't get me the win.
Lamont wins the rematch?
Nah, I don't think he wins the rematch.
Takes it more seriously this time?
I think he takes it more serious. I think he now is in the ring with him, and I think he beats him much more clear.
Tank Davis is ramping up the pressure on Lamont Roach Jr. ahead of their highly anticipated rematch on August 16th. After their first fight ended in a controversial draw, Davis has not held back in his pre-fight rhetoric, taking direct shots at his rival's confidence and mindset. Recently, Tank took to X to address Roach, writing, "Your soft self is just happy you didn't get put to sleep. Your dad was jumping up and down in the corner when y'all made it to the 12th round. Get out of here." The comment was a clear jab at the Roach camp, hinting that their satisfaction with simply surviving the full 12 rounds exposed a lack of true belief in their ability to win. Adding fuel to the fire, Davis has now updated his stance, declaring that this time he's not leaving the result to the judges. He has fired back with a fresh warning, asserting, "This time I'm actually doing the job. I'm putting him out cold. No more close calls, no more debating. You either survive or you don't. He better be ready for the stretcher." It's a heavy promise, the kind that Davis thrives on, and one that has his fans talking about a potential highlight reel knockout. And for a fighter known for his destructive power, this isn't just talk. It's a threat Roach cannot afford to take lightly.
Like the betting me that he gonna knock me out and stuff like that. That didn't go too well for him.
Did y'all bet?
Oh, we bet and we shook on it.
He paid up?
He changed his number.
Roach, for his part, has not taken these shots lying down. He responded with a mix of defiance and dismissal, reminding Davis that he took everything Tank had in their first bout and was still standing when the final bell rang. He snapped back on social media saying, "Y'all think I care about what y'all think I'm doing or not doing, LOL. Obviously what I'm doing is working for me. Can't wait to see the looks on y'all faces again this summer." It's a confident tone, but some critics have pointed out that Roach's recent behavior, including what many perceived as an overly celebratory attitude following the draw, suggests a man who might be content with merely surviving rather than truly conquering the division's most feared puncher.
What you think? I'm mad because I felt like he didn't take it seriously. Like, I don't think for 1 second that Tank is going to lose a rematch. I think Tank is going to win a rematch. I feel like this reminds me of that Floyd fight when he fought Luis Chavez or something. I forget his name, but.
However, the pros are still talking, still making predictions on what they think will happen. Joe Rogan's recent comments have reignited one of boxing's most contentious debates. Was Gervonta Davis truly outclassed by Lamont Roach in their first encounter? The controversy has been building since that March 1st clash, where Davis, the knockout artist with an aura of invincibility, found himself kneeling in the 9th round after a stiff shot from Roach.
What's next for Tank? Where does he go from here? Is it a rematch or is he gonna do something goofy?
This is why I don't like Tank and I could never really root for him. He got too much power. Not physically, I'm talking about socially.
Yes.
Tank he don't have fans. Most people who claim they're a fan of Tank, they're really a groupie.
Yeah.
You're a groupie. Here's the thing. How many times I had a favorite fighter and they lost and I let them take that accountability. Like, I'm holding accountable. If you're my favorite fighter, I'm still holding you accountable. Yeah. If you do wrong, you do wrong. If you get slept, you get slept. If you lose,
It was the kind of moment that can permanently shift the perception of a fighter. A humbling experience in a sport where the margin between dominance and defeat is razor thin. Yet, the referee's decision not to count the knockdown was pivotal, preserving Davis's undefeated record and allowing him to escape with a majority draw.
I think the hardest punch I ever faced. No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Oquendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He a hard hit, motherfucker.
Rogan, never one to shy away from controversial takes, weighed in on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, alongside comedian Tom Segura. In his blunt, no-nonsense style, Rogan dissected the fight and Davis's performance, clearly unimpressed. He had that fight with Lamont Roach where it ended in a draw, and it was a legitimate draw, Rogan began, before leaning into a harsher critique. You could even argue that Roach won that fight. It's the kind of comment that stings, especially coming from a figure like Rogan, whose platform reaches millions and carries significant influence within the combat sports community.
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we taking?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's gonna be soon. I'm hoping it's gonna be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
The context here is the big part. Davis's reputation has been built on ruthless knockouts and a seemingly unshakable aura of power. Yet, as Rogan pointed out, every fighter eventually hits a wall, a point where the physical tools that made them great start to dull. There's a point where the greats just stop being what they were, Rogan said, drawing a parallel to other combat sports legends who have seen their dominance fade. For Davis, the 9th round stumble against Roach might have been that moment, a crack in the armor that even the most loyal Tank supporters can't ignore.
Did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye.
This perspective isn't just a fan theory. It's shared by fighters like Shakur Stevenson, the reigning WBC lightweight champion, who has a vested interest in how Davis performs in his rematch with Roach. Stevenson, a man known for his own near-flawless technique, has openly admitted that he's worried Davis might not survive the Roach test a second time. Speaking to the ring, Stevenson expressed his concerns with striking candor. "When it's a rematch, I don't look at it like everybody else. I know what Tank is dealing with, so Tank is gonna have to be on 100% of his best and beyond."
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left, so he better be on his A game.
This isn't just idle speculation from Stevenson. He's sparred with Roach, felt his power, and seen firsthand the kind of grit the challenger can bring to the ring. "I know that me and Tank is the big fight, so it worries me in the fact that I don't get my opportunity to fight him as an undefeated fighter with Lamont Roach in front of him," Stevenson continued, hinting that a loss for Davis would tarnish the appeal of their potential mega fight. It's a calculated risk, betting that Tank can handle Roach in the rematch. But as Stevenson himself admitted, "I knew Roach wasn't going to get the decision in their first fight," suggesting he already saw the cracks in Davis's game.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank, disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
We got the rematch announced today with him and Lamont Roach. I think
they announced it today?
So what do you think, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, giving him a tough fight?
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there.
What makes Stevenson's doubts particularly compelling is that he's not alone. Other fighters and analysts have echoed his concerns, pointing to that controversial 9th round as the moment where Davis's aura of invincibility slipped. Roach, for his part, has embraced the underdog role, leaning into the narrative that he was robbed in the first fight. He's used this energy to fuel his training camp, doubling down on his claim that Davis isn't as invincible as the knockout stats suggest. It's a mindset that can be dangerous for a champion, especially one like Davis, who has thrived on intimidation and early finishes throughout his career.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style with Tank style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion?
The stakes for the rematch are enormous. Davis isn't just fighting to keep his belt, he's fighting to keep his place atop the lightweight division and to preserve the mystique that has made him one of the sport's most feared punchers. A second disappointing performance against Roach could send shockwaves through the division, shaking the foundations of his fan base and potentially derailing the lucrative matchups that lie ahead. For Stevenson, this isn't just about money or legacy, it's about timing. If Davis loses, the demand for a Stevenson-Tank showdown could evaporate overnight. The narrative would shift from two unbeaten champions risking it all for greatness to a fading star trying to claw his way back to the top. That's a significantly harder sell, both to promoters and to fans who have grown accustomed to the idea of Tank as a wrecking ball with gloves.
Because I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better, and I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for putting up such a amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there.
This question, can Davis truly pass the Roach test twice, is now the defining storyline of his career. If he wins, the doubts will fade, the critics will quiet, and the narrative of his dominance will resume. But if he loses, it could be the beginning of a long, painful slide into boxing's unpredictable middle tier, where forgotten champions struggle to reclaim their former glory. The stakes couldn't be higher, and as Rogan put it, everyone has a limited number of times they can perform at their best. For Gervonta Davis, August 16th might be his final chance to prove that his best is still enough.
Pause. When he punched me in my face, me, like, I was like, oh, that's all he got? Because he tried to punch me hard. And then one time we actually, like, in the ring was like, he said it to me first though. I hit him with a like flush body shot. He was like, man, that shit wasn't none. I thought you hit harder than that. I was like, nigga, I thought you hit harder than that. No, everybody you knocking out and shit.
Roy Jones Jr., a fighter whose name still echoes in boxing's halls of greatness, has also added his voice to the chorus of opinions swirling around the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch. Known for his blunt assessments and fearless takes, Jones told pro boxing fans that he believes Roach is set to shock the world once again. But Jones, always the strategist, made it clear that he expects a more dangerous version of Davis this time around. I think Roach shocks the world again, Jones said. But the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, a different personality, different motivation. And I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
Is that all the great fighters, when they have a controversial decision or a controversial night, they always go back to the scene of the crime and they make it right. Just to give a couple of examples, Floyd Mayweather versus Jose Luis Castillo, Floyd Mayweather versus Chino Maidana. I'll go back further, Roy Jones Jr. versus Montel Griffin, James Toney versus Montel Griffin.
Jones's assessment carries weight, especially given his track record for accurately reading fights. He's a man who knows what it means to rise to the occasion, to reinvent yourself mid-career, and to come back stronger from setbacks. For Jones to hint that Davis might flip the script this time is significant, but it also raises an uncomfortable question. If Roach can shock the world again, what does that say about Davis's supposed dominance? Not everyone shares Jones's cautious optimism about Davis.
I like that when Tank comes to fight, Tank comes to knock you out. Tank don't come to just beat you by decision. He comes to take you out. He comes to try to get the job done best way he can. And he loves to come there and entertain the fans. He's not there to play around. He's trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is a person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight. I don't know that. But Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand? You got to understand that Roach came from basically...
Bill Haney, the ever-outspoken father and head trainer of undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney, had a more straightforward message for Roach. During an April 18th appearance on the Cigar Talk podcast, Haney delivered a blunt, almost dismissive piece of advice. "Lamont, get to work now," Haney said. "Get to work. Don't do too much talking. Listen, have Pops come sit down and talk, because that's what we do. Devin gonna work, and I'm gonna talk. So Lamont, get busy. Man, get busy." It's a statement loaded with the kind of confident arrogance that has become the Haney family trademark. It also subtly reinforces a narrative that Roach, despite his impressive showing in the first fight, is still a step behind the division's elite.
Hey, you want to get beat up by Devin? Listen, all the tapes are out, everything is out. I won the money. I know I'm not supposed to be gambling and stuff, but I won the money. That was clear. We seen everything. It's out. Tank. You know.
Oh, you trying to say the blueprint is out?
Huh?
The blueprint is out, you were saying?
No, yeah, right now. Okay. Everybody know old Crazy Bill just ain't just crazy no more. You know, thankful to Lamont Roach and Team Roach, right?
But if there's one voice that stands out amid all this chatter, it's that of Ben Johnson, one of Roach's closest teammates and main sparring partners. Johnson, speaking with Fight Hype on April 16th, offered a view that cuts through the noise and highlights the growing belief within the Roach camp that their man has Davis's number. "I think the look's gonna stay the same," Johnson said confidently. "Roach being the winner, the better guy looking overall. I just think it's gonna start a little bit earlier, and yeah, it's just gonna be even better than the first one. I picture Roach getting his hand raised."
Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8 count. But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there. I think I was taking control. I think I was landing more shots. I think I was landing more power shots.
For those who watched the first fight closely, this perspective isn't entirely out of left field. Roach's ability to make Davis look uncomfortable, to force him to fight at a pace he clearly wasn't expecting, is a sign that the underdog might have cracked the code. Johnson doubled down on this point, adding, "I feel like everybody should know that Roach won. I feel like Tank, he definitely feels like that too. He felt it as soon as the people started booing him, after it was a draw and he started talking and all that."
No, I think Lamont Roach is a terrific fighter. He might be a little over his head with Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is, I mean, to say the least, he's a beast. He really is. He's a tremendous fighter. He's a dedicated fighter when it comes to training and fighting and making sure that he's in optimal conditions when he steps inside that squared circle.
This confidence from the Roach camp stands in stark contrast to the unease that seems to have settled over the Davis side. For all his talk about knocking Roach out in the rematch, Davis's recent actions suggest a fighter struggling to control the narrative. His reluctance to take on certain opponents, including high-risk fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis, has not gone unnoticed. The once feared knockout artist is now finding himself the target of uncomfortable questions about his willingness to take on truly dangerous challenges.
I don't know Lamont Roach, but you know, when you're looking at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at, you know, these other fighters that he should really be fighting, you know, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire. Yeah. So don't come and but don't come and come at me. Yeah. And go, oh yeah, let's give it all, you know, very big bollocks, and go, oh yeah, let's give him some stick, and then make out like we want the fight. And then we send an offer over, and then you fight for 15 million.
Paulie Malignagi, never one to shy away from speaking his mind, took this criticism a step further during an interview with Fight Hype. Keyshawn and Shakur can't get the barometer fight because it's not attainable because nobody wants to fight them, Malignagi said, before turning his sights on Davis. Gervonta Davis doesn't get the barometer fight because he always avoids it. I don't understand why the double standard. Where's the barometer fight for Gervonta Davis? Where is it? With Lamont Roach, where he was a 16-1 favorite and then struggled. That's a barometer? What kind of barometer is that?
That fight with Tank and Lamont Roach shows y'all how protected Tank has been for the past several years. And the people saying, oh, Tank know Lamont and he been respected Lamont because they fought in the amateurs. Man, he was cherry picking Lamont, you know, and really thought he was going to get that win.
Malignagi's words cut deep because they touch on a truth that even Davis's most loyal fans can't ignore. The idea that Davis has at times avoided the kind of risky, legacy-defining fights that separate the good from the great. For all his power and highlight reel knockouts, Davis has yet to prove himself against a truly elite, peak-level fighter.
Gervonta had natural God-given talent. He had natural blazing speed, twitch muscles, and power.
Yeah, G, mediocre.
Lamont didn't have that God-given talent. God damn!
Gotcha.
But you know where they evened out the stakes? Character and backbone. Lamont has a ton of character and backbone. Gervonta has none.
You don't know me as a person?
The Roach rematch, then, isn't just a chance for Davis to settle a score, it's a potential turning point in his career. But for that to happen, Davis has to do more than just talk about putting Roach on a stretcher. He has to prove definitively that the 9th round scare in their first fight was a fluke, that he can adjust, adapt, and impose his will on a fighter who clearly isn't intimidated by his power. That's a tall order, and as Malignagi's comments make clear, the boxing world isn't exactly convinced that Davis has it in him.
I had something on the table. So people who think I'm taking this fight for money, it wasn't the thing. Because I actually had an offer that was higher than the Tank fight.
Oh, for real?
Yes. To defend my belt. So, for all the people who think I was, oh, he doing it for a check, that's what I'm saying. I don't even want to shut people up.
The stakes have rarely been higher for Davis. A loss to Roach would not only damage his reputation, it would potentially derail the kind of mega fights that have been teased for years. It would also vindicate every critic who has ever suggested that Davis's carefully curated record is more about smart matchmaking than genuine greatness. In a sport as unforgiving as boxing, those kinds of narratives can be impossible to shake once they take hold. For now, the talk continues, the interviews pile up, and the fighters circle each other, both in the media and in their respective training camps. But eventually, all the noise will fade, the cameras will roll, and the truth will reveal itself in the ring. And Tank could keep his word, or not. How do you see it? Share your take below and subscribe for more updates.